So, I just recently watched the Chainsaw Man movie, adapting the Reze Arc. I didn't go in blind. I've read the Chainsaw Man manga. It was one of the first manga I read actually, just after Berserk. And I was a little afraid that reading the manga would dampen my expectations or experience in some way. But it did not. It just gave me a different appreciation entirely. I reread some of the parts beforehand to refresh my memory before watching. And seeing those scenes come to life and being given so much love was beautiful. The first example that comes to mind of just being blown away by how good the adaptation was to the source material is the fireworks scene, or the tongue scene. You probably know what I'm talking about if you've watched the movie. I'm sure there's better examples of just how good the adaptation was done, but that's the one that stood out to me personally. This movie was just peak cinema. And I feel I have to draw the sheer disparity to One Punch Man Season 3 right here. We got the worst adaptation versus the best. I'll make a standalone video on that too later, but One Punch Man isn't what we're talking about. That was just a small jab I had to make. Okay, I'll try to keep this review, or honestly, it's probably more suitable to call it just outright praise. I'll try to keep this spoiler free. Any spoilers I do bring up will be pretty minor. With that being said, slight spoiler here. The beginning scene in the movie where Denji goes to see 10 movies. I won't give the full context, but Denji sits through 9 movies. All of these movies are packed, but in his eyes, all of these movies are also shit. People are laughing, people are sobbing, he's stone-faced. But then, he goes to the 10th movie. Every seat is pretty much empty. Which was kind of funny because when I was watching this movie, my theater was also completely empty. But I also watched the movie really late. And yet, out of the 9 other movies, this one is the one that makes Denji cry. And this small, almost comedic sequence actually provides an important message in it. That no matter how many movies you watch, just one super good movie can leave an impact that washes the others away. And maybe I'm reaching here, but this kind of relates to Denji in a way. He puts his life on the line, gets killed and mutilated more than a couple of times. A normal life is completely out of his reach, and yet he's still happy. Because after these horrible moments, he has fun with Aki and power. He has moments with his crush Makima. He gets to eat food he considers good, and he gets to sleep in a place he considers comfy. We see in the beginning of the movie that this is considered enough for him, because he doesn't know what it's like to have anything better. He doesn't know what it's like to go to school. He doesn't know what it's like to hang out with friends. Denji is flawed, but for good reason. He's a teenager who's lived a horrible, twisted childhood, and now that he's being given the bare minimum for living, as Reze puts it, something that was previously a dream for him, he's ready to fight tooth and nail for it. And this movie is like a war of beliefs. We got Denji, who is content with his current life, and we got Reze, who, meanwhile, is on the other side of the coin. She's trying to convince him into sacrificing what he has for a chance at a better life, a life he should have been given. I'm being super deep about this. Honestly, I didn't even make a lot of these connections as I was watching the movie. It's just all snapping into place now. I got a light bulb above my head. I was actually having trouble adapting to the movie at the beginning because I watch most anime subbed, right? However, I watched this movie dubbed. That's not to say I hate the dub. There were some awkward moments. Like there was this one part where Reze was screaming for some time and it dragged out. But that makes me sound like a psychopath. But for the most part, every character actually had amazing English voice acting that fit them very well. Especially Aki. I think he had the best voice acting in my opinion. The movie had amazing animation too, both in the slice of life scenes and in the action, but especially in the action scenes. It was made by MAPPA, the animation studio known for delivering the most hype products, and also known for tiptoeing the line of what can be considered slavery for its employees. And I don't like slavery, but the product that came out of it is pretty damn good. I'm kidding, I'm joking. I was grinning ear to ear watching the animation though. Seeing Denzi move around like he's high while he rides Beam like he's a fucking horse. Oh, I cannot explain just how peak it was. Watching it, I almost became sad because I knew I'm not getting another cinematic experience like this in a while. The next one will probably be like the second movie for the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle arc. The first movie for that was also fantastic, and that one came out only a month before this one, which is crazy. But going back to the action scenes in the movie, another thing I loved about it was that I could actually tell what was going on. A lot was happening all at once, but the sequences felt paced and shown just perfectly to make sure we, the audience, weren't like overwhelmed. It felt like the people that created this really loved the source material. There was this scene, for example, that mirrored the cover art for volume 1 of the Chainsaw Man manga. Unnecessary? Maybe, but the addition caught me so off guard in a good way. I appreciated it. Speaking of emotional impacts, this movie was damn skilled at delivering. The soundtrack was amazing. Combine it with the color grading and the art just made for some hype, some disturbing and some depressing scenes. It had me on the edge of my seat even though I knew what was coming next. I knew the ending and yet I still almost cried at it. I should make it known though, this movie isn't overly dark or something. It has a lot of humor sprinkled in, most of which actually hit for me. I would say 50% of it made me want to laugh, 30% of it at least got a smile out of me, and the remaining 20%, even though I didn't find it that funny, was small enough, like not invasive enough to hurt the experience. Okay, let me finish yapping. In case the glaze didn't make it obvious, I absolutely recommend this movie. The whole experience was just me remembering what made me fall in love with this series to begin with. Just watch Chainsaw Man Season 1, and then watch this. It might put a good amount of people off at first, probably. Particularly since Denji is very sexual. But I just can't not recommend this. It's a jack of all trades, master of all. As I said in the beginning, Chainsaw Man, the movie Reze Arc, is peak cinema.